Question I have is really, I think, kind of simple. It's, can you do you think it's possible that we can get some idea of someone's quote unquote elasticity, someone's quote unquote stiffness, or someone's neural capabilities, given we standardize a protocol that has bias towards demonstrating someone's neural abilities, allegedly? These are things that I'm alleging based off of what I've seen through the literature, and I'm saying that if you do a squat jump or non-counter movement jump off a cue, or if you do a counter movement jump and you specify to the athlete, we're looking for you to bounce at the bottom of the hole. And this is, again, the audience that I think we're talking to is applied sports science. And so we're living in that space, or speaking to that space, of taking what we understand from the literature and applying it in the trenches, in the strength and conditioning room as a lab. And since, I've been mentioning Force Dex and the Vald software, but Hawking Dynamics, there are a number of companies now that have dual force plates, and we're able to get some of this this important data. And heck, I'm going to throw in scales in there as well, because that gives an opportunity to be able to see load. What can remain, I think, a good opportunity for engaging with the athlete, but also getting a very good picture to the athlete, or a comprehensive picture as it relates to what we see on the court, is these protocols. I want to finish with the last protocol, is a stiffness jump. And this is, I think, a good place to start, because stiffness is a weird word. It's not a weird word, I say. It's one of those words that people make a statement, and I feel that it needs a qualifier, because there's so much of stiffness that we're beginning to understand. I guess the first question to you is, what do you think about jump protocols as in particular, a squat jump, or I should say a non-counter movement jump, a counter movement jump, and a stiffness jump, to say player has X factor of neural capabilities based off the average of a group. Player has Y capabilities based off of the average of a group, and player has Z capabilities off the average of a group, or relative to a group mean. I'm interested in your thoughts, and take it away from your perspective, because you said, first of all, I just want to make sure. So I asked B to send me some info. Actually, I don't know. I just said, hey, let's cover a couple of topics. He sent me like 5 articles, and these articles were awesome. I mean, I'm still not even done really with the first one that I'm reading. I like to kind of review them on a regular basis, but I was salivating at this literature. So give any sort of context to the question that I really have. It's at the heart of the matter for me. Jump protocols and their relevance. Let me know what you think.
So back to our discussion here in terms of a potential jump protocol. For instance, if we do a assessment of the individual's intrinsic properties in terms of stiffness, you do that in a isokinetic dynamometer where the foot is fixed, and you measure for instance, the Achilles tendon, myotendinous junction stiffness, and have some sort of an ultrasound, and you go through that measure, and then you try to correlate that to the individual's chosen jump strategy. And we could do that by just having them do jump squat, counter movement jump, maybe even a drop jump, and see how one or all 3 are correlated to the actual stiffness measure we did in a more clinical setting. And on top of that, we could probably also see how how the jump strategy could be changed by the cueing we use. So for instance, if we say we use the same three jump types, and then we can tell them, okay, now jump as quick as you can, and then subsequently jump as high as you can. And we can see how the individual can alter or modify, or should I say, modulate their jump strategy accordingly. But what I also would think it's more practically applicable is how is this jump strategy related to this individual? So if we're talking about basketball here now, how is this jump strategy that we measured now and the stiffness properties we measured related to this individual's position-specific KPIs, which the coach wants to see? Is he or she, doing their defensive actions appropriately, successfully, or maybe lacking of thereof? And similarly for transitional actions and offensive actions. And we try to tie those things together. So it could be a technical deficiency, it could be a perceptual, issue if they're not having the right, performing the right actions, which is another discussion, not related so much to stiffness, or it could be related to the physical components, which we in the lab in the strength conditioning can address now that we have done these measures. So yeah, let me know what you think about that.
What I want to be clear is that this can relate to, the person who wants to go run a 5K. This is just about understanding your health, right? And diminishing joint pain and really sort of increasing functional performance on a regular basis. This goes from the person who, the gamer, to the person who's seated in an extended or a seated position for a long period of time, that needs to sort of have mental acuity. So, it could be, hey, part of our training today is we're running through these various locations all around our facility. It's our mobility movement in the cage, and it gives sort of joint range angle. But it's engaging because now you're reacting off of a cue, right? It's the lab of the future. And the lab of the future, given our access to various sort of resources, that you've got these types of companies right now where you're reacting off of a light cue, you're touching it. You've got force plates that measure force output. That could just be stationed all around, and the athlete experience can be further enriched by having people who can engage with the person's force signature, so that it doesn't feel like it's an assessment, just feels like an experience dedicated to understanding the athlete, which it is. What has happened is those two worlds have now converged. So you had Ivan Drago, who was in this sort of dimly lit sensory motor neuromuscular performance lab, and he was only in that lab, and Rocky chose to go outside. I'm saying today those worlds now coexist. So you have in Rocky Ivan Drago, training facility, and where the art comes in is how do you become a MacGyver in those settings, and at the same time a MacGyver with the technology, but a MacGyver with the individual as well. Like, hey, we're not going to go through the traditional cleans because it's great. It's a great standard, but you've done enough cleans, and we can see that based off the data. Right now, the focus, and I have to give credit to JB Marin about sort of really sort of showing the science of why technique matters. He's highlighted, I think he's yelling it out. JB Marin and Pierre Samazino. After you've reached a certain level, now you've got to craft it, right? You've got to craft the technique, and that can be seen, I think, through understanding people's force signatures, having you come in and as part of the workout today, you're gonna go in room or station 5, and you're doing isometric soleus loading before you hit the court, but he's gonna do ultrasound on you as well after you've done your massage treatment. So no, we're not just gonna jump on a foam roller and head on the court. We can do that And it's good that you do that on your own, but, you know, we're investing in you right now, and here's the workout. And the workout is, it's intensive, but it's geared towards you. You're gonna know what 70% of maximum isometric contraction is. You're gonna know what it feels like, and that's important because when somebody's talking to you on the court, and we're trying to guard against an injury, or we're returning from injury, and we want to keep you at 70% because we feel that's a higher probability that you don't re-injure. You have to play the game because you're getting paid to play the game, right? Here's how we can protect you. It's based off all the training that we've had in the lab and off the lab.